this picture, this was taken in probably, what would you say, 1966, I don't know. But in this picture, you can tell who the favorite is because look at her bangs and look at my bangs. I don't know why they it was probably an Olin Mills picture. You prepped for this kind of thing in the 1960s. I don't know why they didn't fix my bangs. So let me share you the story with you of Mom. My mom, of course, she was an adult, like mother age during the 60s, and most women got married, had children, sometimes because they thought that's what they had to do, and sometimes because that's what they wanted to do. My mother wanted nothing else. She wanted nothing else in her life except to get married and have a house full of kids. So she got married. She had the two of us. We're only just barely a year apart, so she was on track. Like a kid a year for I don't know how long. So strike one in her life came when she found out she couldn't have any more children. So that was the end of that. It was the two of us. Strike two came when I was about 10, my sister was about 11, and my dad left. So there she was. Now, they had a tumultuous marriage over the years, but when he's gone, that was different. So now she's left with this whole life that she never planned for. Do you all know what I'm talking about? Sometimes we have dreams, and we see that our life is going to go in one direction, and then it does not. It goes in a completely different direction. So here she was with us having to work, having to raise us, having to deal with all the things she never wanted to deal with. And so I kind of use the phrase non-person. You know, after my dad left, my mom really sort of developed over time as if she wasn't even really a person. She stopped really caring for herself. She stopped caring for us and our home. Her mental illness was getting worse. Now, I say that because in our growing up years, she had a nervous breakdown or two. Do y'all remember that phrase? Anybody? Nervous breakdowns? We don't really use that anymore. But she always struggled with that. And so she wound up living for a long time with my dear, wonderful sister. I say that I escaped. Well, there came a point where it got really bad. There was a time when was it a plate? She threw a plate at my sister's head, trying to crash into her head. She got to the point where there were times, I told you I'm going to be real and transparent, she walked around without pants on in her house and would not go find a restroom. She would just wherever it was. So it came time to move her out. We had to move her. We decided to move her into a senior high-rise kind of living thing. When we went to move her out, in the bedroom, now this was in a separate part of my sister's house, and none of us had really gone in there very often. We had to throw away everything. We had to throw away her clothes. We had to throw away the bedding, the mattress, the bed. She began hoarding things. Y'all know the show Hoarders? They don't just hoard cute little figurines. Okay, I think we had 3 30-gallon trash bags of cans that we loaded up. She got to the point, she had smoked all of her life, so she had COPD, she had a heart attack, she had bypass surgery. When we moved her into this high-rise, she was on 24/7 oxygen, wheelchair. Whenever we came to get her to take her to the store, we put her in a wheelchair. She would not really get up off the sofa to go to the restroom. Do you understand what I'm saying? Service. But the people who worked in the kitchen in this high-rise living would come in. My mom would be sleeping. That's all she did was sleep on that sofa. They would take her styrofoam container of food and drop it on the table and leave. Now, I'm not blaming. Please don't misunderstand. I'm not blaming. But all of these things together made her have this non-life. So what happened? So remember when we last left Mom, she was living in the high-rise. She was bitter. She was angry. She wasn't getting up to go to the restroom. She wasn't going to the dining room to eat. She was in a wheelchair. The place was just horrific. She began showing some signs of dementia. Nothing horrible, but it was getting to the point where we knew we needed to put her in an assisted living. So that's what we did. She was pretty mad. But we put her in this assisted living, and through this, my sister and I, because I want you to know it's about relationships. My sister and I had to get to places where we didn't let her harm us anymore, but we also had to get to a place where we were able to care for her and keep our own mental and emotional control. We changed the way that we dealt with her, so we changed. The people, and I'm saying women because it was women here, the women who worked in the kitchen and the women who were the techs, they made her go to lunch. They made her go to dinner. They would not just bring dinner and flop it down on the table. They made her go play bingo. They made her go to the outings. Soon she began changing. She began wanting to go to those places. And within, I would say, 6 months maybe less, this was our mother. This was our mother. This was our mother. This is at the prom. This is her dancing with me and my children. Listen, the dementia made her forget her bitterness. We don't have to wait for dementia. We do not have to wait for dementia to make a change, because as soon as she let go of the bitterness and the anger, as soon as people started interacting with her differently and she started forgetting, her health got better. These people loved her. She passed away in October of 2016, and this is what I will close with. They gave my sister and I both boxes of letters, and this is my wish for you today. One of them says, I'm just going to read a couple. One says, one day I came in work after having a bad day. When I went into Miss Martell's room, she grabbed me, gave me a hug, and told me she loved me. I melted, and my mood changed instantly. It's about relationships, what you do with not only the kids, but the people you work with, and the people you live with, and the people you play with. It's about the relationships. Here's the last one. This is from a woman who cleaned her room. She always had speaking of my mom, she always had a warm smile. She gave you when you passed by her room, or when you were simply cleaning her room as I did. She smiled when she was happy, or whatever she was feeling that day. She loved hugs. We shared many. She told me many times how much she loved my hugs. I loved your mother. What a sweet lady she was. And here's the advice from her to us and from me to you. To anyone, regardless of age, health, etc., a hug, a smile, and a kind word can move mountains. And I pray that you go back this school year and you move the biggest mountains you've ever moved. Thank you so much. Loved you all.